Y'all can do better than that, BT. Make some noise in here one time.
Fame, genius, madness. Three words that define one of the most controversial figures in modern culture. Kanye West. From the streets of Chicago to the global stage, Kanye didn't just follow the rules, he rewrote them. A producer turned rapper, a rapper turned mogul, and a mogul turned symbol of chaos and brilliance. But behind the flashing lights, behind the fame and the billion-dollar Yeezy empire, lies a man constantly battling his own demons. A visionary who built an empire from raw ambition, only to risk losing it all in the name of truth, pride, and ego. How did a boy who dreamed of greatness become the man the world loves, fears and questions all at once? How did Kanye West, the self-proclaimed creative god, rise to the top, fall into infamy, and redefine what it means to be an artist in the 21st century? This is the untold story of Kanye West. Before the fame, before the headlines, before the chaos, there was a young boy named Kanye Omari West. Born in Atlanta in 1977 and raised in the south side of Chicago, Kanye grew up in a world split between creativity and struggle. His mother, Donda West, a university professor of English, believed her son was destined for greatness. His father, Ray West, was a former photojournalist for the Atlanta Journal-Constitution, one of the first black photojournalists in the city's history. When his parents divorced, Kanye moved with Donda to Chicago. It was there, surrounded by the rhythm of street life and the pulse of hip-hop, that his imagination began to take shape. While other kids chased ball games, Kanye was sketching, writing poetry, and experimenting with beats on a cheap keyboard. Music became his language. His mother became his anchor, nurturing his confidence, feeding his dream. She didn't just raise a child, she raised a believer. But behind that belief was a quiet fire, an ambition so fierce it often isolated him. Even as a teenager, Kanye saw himself not as a rapper, but as a visionary, someone who wasn't meant to follow trends, but to create them. In those humble Chicago rooms, the legend of Kanye West began to form. In the late 1990s, Chicago's hip-hop scene was raw, underground, and hungry. And Kanye West was right in the middle of it. He started out making beats in his small bedroom, crafting soulful samples and chopped-up melodies that felt different from anything on the radio. He didn't have money, but he had sound. A sound that made even seasoned artists stop and listen. By his early 20s, Kanye had caught the attention of the biggest names in the game. He produced for Jay-Z's The Blueprint, one of hip-hop's most iconic albums. Those beats, rich, emotional, gospel-infused, changed rap forever. Suddenly, everyone wanted that Kanye sound. But Kanye didn't want to stay behind the boards. He wanted to be the voice, yet every label told him the same thing. You're just a producer. Then, in 2002, fate struck. A near-fatal car accident left his jaw shattered. Most would have stopped. But Kanye recorded Through the Wire while his mouth was wired shut, rapping through the pain, defying every limitation. That song became a statement. Kanye West would not be silenced. 2 years later, the College Dropout dropped, and with it, a new era in music began. It was funny, spiritual, and brutally honest, a debut that shattered stereotypes and made Kanye the voice of a generation. The underdog had arrived, and he was just getting started. With the College Dropout, Kanye West didn't just enter hip-hop, he reinvented it. Gone were the gangsta tales and luxury anthems. In their place came songs about faith, insecurity, family, and ambition. Kanye rapped about self-doubt and social pressure while dressing like an Ivy League rebel. Pink polos, backpacks, and confidence louder than any chain. The album earned him 3 Grammys and critical acclaim. But for Kanye, success wasn't a destination. It was fuel. He followed up with Late Registration and Graduation, each pushing boundaries further. With lush orchestras, electronic synths, and collaborations with artists from all genres, Kanye blurred the lines between hip-hop and high art. By the mid-2000s, he wasn't just a rapper. He was a cultural architect, shaping sound, fashion, and even attitude. Then came 808s and Heartbreak, a shocking emotional pivot. Auto-tuned vulnerability, grief, and heartbreak spilled across every track. It wasn't what fans expected, but it became one of the most influential albums of the next decade, inspiring artists like Drake, The Weeknd, and Travis Scott. At the same time, Kanye's fame exploded beyond music. He walked Paris Fashion Week, challenged designers, and turned his Yeezy brand into a billion-dollar empire. And when he married reality TV star Kim Kardashian, the couple became pop culture royalty, their every move broadcast to the world. But behind the designer suits and flashing cameras, something was shifting. The same fire that had fueled his creativity began to consume his peace. The perfectionist who once fought for art was now fighting himself, his ambition battling his emotions. For every empire built on brilliance, there comes a moment when the light turns harsh. For Kanye West, that moment came on live television. It was 2009, the MTV Video Music Awards. Taylor Swift stood on stage, clutching her first award, when Kanye stormed up, grabbed the mic, and declared, "I'ma let you finish." The world gasped. The industry recoiled. In a single moment, Kanye went from visionary to villain. That night became a turning point, the beginning of a long public unraveling. Over the next decade, controversy followed him like a shadow. He interrupted award shows, feuded with fellow artists, and made headlines that overshadowed his music. In interviews, his ego seemed unstoppable, calling himself a god, comparing himself to Walt Disney and Shakespeare. Then came the heartbreak. The death of his mother, Donda West, shattered him in ways no one could see. His mental health declined. His marriage to Kim Kardashian, once the symbol of modern celebrity, began to crumble. And when Kanye entered politics, the world saw a man spiraling between genius and chaos. He wore the red "Make America Great Again" hat. He made explosive statements about slavery, race, and faith. He wasn't just testing boundaries anymore, he was destroying them. By 2022, his words had crossed a line even his fame couldn't protect. Major brands, Adidas, Balenciaga, Gap, cut ties with him after anti-Semitic remarks. The billionaire became a cautionary tale overnight. Narrator, somber tone. The man who once broke barriers was now breaking himself. Fame had given him a stage, but it had also become his cage. Kanye West, the dreamer from Chicago, had reached the top of the world, only to find that the spotlight could burn just as fiercely as it could shine. After the fall came silence. No red carpets, no interviews, just a man retreating into the shadows and searching for his soul. Kanye's redemption didn't arrive with a hit single or a new sneaker drop. It began with faith. He turned to spirituality, launching his Sunday service, a fusion of gospel, hip-hop, and worship that drew crowds of believers and skeptics alike. On dusty hillsides and empty warehouses, voices rose, choirs sang, and for a moment, Kanye found peace. In 2021, he released Donda, named after the mother he'd lost but never stopped loving. The album was massive, emotional, cinematic, a son's final conversation with his guiding spirit. Every track echoed grief, redemption, and the desire to reconnect with something pure. Even as the world debated his actions, one thing remained undeniable: Kanye's ability to create from chaos. His faith became both his refuge and his rebellion, a new kind of stage where ego met repentance. Narrator, hopeful tone. He may never return to who he once was. And perhaps that's the point. Because for Kanye West, reinvention isn't a comeback, it's a constant evolution. Love him or hate him, you cannot ignore him. Kanye West is not just a musician. He is a movement. From producing soulful beats in a Chicago basement to reshaping global fashion, he redefined what it means to be an artist in the 21st century. He taught a generation that creativity doesn't have rules, that pain can be art, and ego can be fuel. His sound changed hip-hop. His vision changed streetwear. His boldness challenged culture itself, but his legacy isn't clean. It's complicated, messy, and deeply human. Because for every genius idea came a moment of madness. For every triumph, a controversy. And yet, that's what makes Kanye West Kanye West. He's the reflection of modern fame itself. Brilliant, broken, unpredictable, unforgettable. Narrator, slow, reflective tone. Kanye West's story is not about perfection. It's about the cost of greatness. It reminds us that the same fire that creates can also destroy, and that the line between vision and chaos is thinner than we think. Whether you see him as a prophet or a provocateur, one thing is certain: his mark on culture will never fade. Narrator, closing tone. Kanye West's journey is a reminder that genius and madness often walk hand in hand. If you enjoyed this story, subscribe for more untold Hollywood journeys, only on Stars and Scandals.